A new company with a lot of history, GIS Engineering has rapidly grown its brand around an experienced team of professionals. GIS Engineering is a full-service planning, engineering, procurement, and construction management company specializing in coastal protection and restoration, upstream and downstream industrial, and transportation infrastructure projects. Putting people first, GIS Engineering, a new company with a lot of history.
Everybody, welcome into Going Public. I am Harry McCullough. David Rabelais is the Executive Director of the Terrebonne Port Commission. He'll join us for this edition of Going Public. Thanks so much for being here, man.
Hey, man, happy to be here.
All right, summertime, does anything change in the summer?
It's hot.
On it all.
It's hot. I'm telling you, it's hot. And then when we get a lot of rain, it adds a little bit of depth for me, you know, on my channel. Yeah. So, you know, I never turn down rain. You know?
We don't want to get too much, but yeah, it would be nice to have a little extra depth.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the status of the Houma Navigational Canal.
Maintenance.
We'll talk about HNC from the rest of the way, but yeah, talk about the maintenance dredging.
All right, that, you know, for the people that are not familiar with it, that's something they have to do every year. Between the sea buoy and cocodrie, it silts in the bay.
And this is almost open water, right?
Yeah, it is.
When I think of HNC, I'm thinking of, you know, up here, but it's really almost open water.
You in the Gulf of Mexico, even though it's not at the sea buoy yet. Mm-hmm. So it's a 10-mile diameter, 11-mile diameter bay. And but the minute you pass cocodrie in the land, it's open water. You get the waves, you get everything. So it's, you know, it's pretty much out there.
And that's where a lot of times just from tidal or whatever, silt gets knocked in.
Yeah.
You have to maintain it.
So what happens in the bay is you have a predominant east-west current. So the winds blow, the current moves from east to west. It picks up all the sand and sediment, but when it passes over the Houma Navigation Canal, it's like a sediment trap. The Houma Navigation Canal is 15 feet, and the bay is 12. So it's like a ditch going through the bay, and when the water and sediment gets over there, the heavier sediment falls out into the channel, and that's why we have to dredge that every year to the tune of $5 to $7 million. The federal government pays for it to keep it open. And so if we start from last year, we did all of our dredging. If anybody wants to see the depths, they can go to the Corps has a website, and I'm not going to read off it's about that long, but if you go to the Terrebonne Port Commission's website, there's a link on there that you click on, and you can go to all the PDFs. They do it in panels from the intercoastal all the way down to the Gulf. Of course, the intercoastal to the cocodrie, we dredged a couple years ago, and that's the first time since I've been port director, 20 years, that we've dredged it, and that we probably won't dredge it for a while, because you don't get sediment coming from the intercoastal going down to cocodrie. All the sediment is from the east to the west in the bay.
So, yeah. So what we were looking at, we just saw a picture of that.
Right.
So that's showing us what, Dave?
That's a section of the channel going through the bay. Okay, and what that is a hydrographic survey that's color-coded, and if you look at the bottom, it tells you the depths of each color. Okay, and I can't really see it from here; it's too small. But it looks like the I don't know.
But anyway,
so you have blue and you have green and you have yellow. So one of those, and I think it's the green, needs to be dredged to get down to the blue.
I see. I see, and that's what you're trying to do.
It just makes it easier to see by color code.
So what we're looking at, though, is in the bay, right?
Yes, yes.
On that area.
A section of the channel in the bay.
And y'all do a survey on that every year, and then you decide what you got to do.
The Corps does it. They survey it several times a year just to kind of monitor it so they can figure out what they want to spend. And so we're waiting on them to get with us for the 2025 budget. Okay, so they're probably going to dredge it in the fall. So I'm waiting on them to come and let us know, they're going to put a contract out. The guy that's been doing that for years just retired. So there's a new guy, and he and I haven't kind of connected yet that well. So I'm going to give him a call in the next week or so and put some pressure on him to put the thing out for bid.
Get to know him a little better.
Yeah, well, I mean, we work well together. It's just that I don't know him like I knew the other guy. The other guy had a cell phone. I'd call him anytime I wanted.
Right.
And this guy will be the same way, but he's new. So,
Sure.
So he's not new to the Corps. He's just new to this position.
Right. So the H&C maintenance dredging is a different thing than the H&C deepening process. How are we doing on that?
Correct. So as you know, I just mentioned the channel is authorized for 15 feet. They allow you to dredge 2 feet deep up to 17. It's called advanced maintenance. We filed a request to the federal government to deepen it to 20 feet, which you still have that 2 foot of maintenance, so it'd be 22 feet. And we're still working through that process. We got authorized in 2020. There were 4 questions that the Assistant Secretary of the Army wanted us to answer. The Corps took it, and they didn't do anything for 3 years, okay? Go figure. So anyway, so they just finished answering those questions, okay, from 2020, and they're routing it through the Corps office, the Vicksburg, to make sure it's what they, it's good. And then it's going to go to the ASA's office by the end of August. And we got to wait for them to look at it and approve it. And they may have questions. They may have, want additional information. So once all of that's done and they bless it, the Corps is going to enter into an agreement with DOTD for cost share. And then the Corps has a team of people with lawyers and everything who are going to look at all the pipelines that we've already found and located, and
Y'all been doing on that for a while.
Yeah, and they're going to determine whether the pipeline company has to pay to lower it or remove it, or whether the federal government does, or the state, whoever's paying, whether the project has to pay for it or whether they have to pay for it.
So that'll be very interesting. And again, that's something you've been working on for a couple of years now.
Yeah.
We just got to get them to finish it off, and then we can actually start lowering stuff or getting rid of them. So, all right, let's take a break. When we come back, we'll talk about Washington, maybe the big, beautiful bill. How might that affect the H&C? We'll do that next on Going Public.
Led by a 7-member commission, the Terrebonne Port was created to assist our local industry in promoting economic development. We monitor government regulations that affect our local industry and work with the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers to secure maintenance dredging funds. Because the H&C is the main artery for the heartbeat of Terrebonne's economy, Terrebonne Port fights a constant battle for funding to maintain the federally authorized navigable depth. We are now leasing waterfront and non-waterfront property. Terrebonne Port Commission, serving our industry to keep Terrebonne thriving.
Sea Level Construction is a heavy civil contractor that provides turnkey services for the industrial and marine industries. From building large-scale infrastructure to installing the foundation for expansion projects, Sea Level and its family of companies offer a wide range of capabilities, including driven piles, drill deep foundations, structural fabrication, structural concrete, marine construction, barge maintenance and repair, site work development, heavy equipment repair services, and electrical services. Call Sea Level Construction to set the foundations for your next big project.
Located at 5004 Imperial Drive in Houma, April and Iris is a must-see for those looking for exquisite home decor and gifts. Owned by April Boudreau, along with her talented design team, there is no lack of detail to enhance your shopping experience. April and Iris has all your decor needs.
Come in today and let us help you complete your design vision. It's what we do.
April and Iris, Homa's newest home interior and gift store, where decor and inspiration meet and fulfill all your design needs.
In South Louisiana, storms are a way of life. Every storm poses a different threat, whether from flooding or hurricane-force winds. At All South Consulting Engineers, we help protect our people from these disasters. Before a storm, we work with our leaders to prevent catastrophic damage. After the storm, we help get the resources needed for rebuilding. We have helped our cities, parishes, and school boards recover over $2 billion to rebuild our community. We'll be here for the next one.
A new company with a lot of history, GIS Engineering has rapidly grown its brand around an experienced team of professionals. GIS Engineering is a full-service planning, engineering, procurement, and construction management company specializing in coastal protection and restoration, upstream and downstream industrial, and transportation infrastructure projects. Putting people first, GIS Engineering, a new company with a lot of history.
Everybody, welcome back to Going Public. I am Harry McCullough. We're speaking with David Rabelais, the Terrebonne Port Commission Executive Director. We were talking about the agency deepening, and we were finishing up on some of the pipelines that needed to be identified.
Yeah, so for the last year and a half, 2 years, we have been complete with locating and identifying all the pipelines that cross and utilities, pipelines, there's all kinds of different stuff that cross the channel, okay? And they won't dig a shovel of dirt until they're all lowered, okay? And the lock and floodgate is in place, okay? So we sent letters to all the pipeline companies notifying them. If you look at their right-of-way agreement, if you look at their permit, it says that if there's any navigation issue, they're responsible for lowering their pipeline, okay? Not all of them say that, but most of them do. And so we sent letters to the pipeline companies, and their response back to us was, who's going to pay for this? And we said, well, and your permit, it says this, you see, yeah, but our legal
Sure.
has a whatever. So we're at a crossroads where we can't really do anything unless we file legal action against them, which we're not, at this point, okay? But the Corps holds the permit. So the Corps can pull the permit, and then they're going to have to get that pipeline out of the channel altogether, and they don't want that to happen. So the Corps evaluates every pipeline. We send them all the information. They determine who is the the person that has, or the entity that has to pay for it, and they've already looked at a lot of it. They're not supposed to yet because they're not finished all that other stuff we just talked about. But as soon as they get that letter agreement with DOTD signed, they're going to start. And they send a letter to the pipeline company and say, hey, your pipeline's in the way. We're coming in with a channel. Here's your permit. This is what it says. So put it on your schedule and let us know when you're going to have it done. That kind of stuff.
Right.
And they listen to the Corps. They don't listen to us.
Sure.
So that's what we've been waiting on for the last 2 years, okay, while they answered the questions that the ASA had and all of that stuff. So we kind of on a standstill right now on that until they do it. The other part of that is trying to find funding to deepen. Okay, the federal share is like 180 million, I think, or 200 million. I don't remember the exact number. And then the state's going to pay the difference. And right now it's looking like the estimate says about 250 million total. Okay, so
wow.
So. There's a lot of moving parts, but we got to keep dredging the maintenance, and we got to keep hoping that the Corps finishes all the stuff they're supposed to finish.
Right, which is interesting. And, when we talk about Washington, right, the big, beautiful bill, it's got a lot of stuff in it. But one of the things they were talking about was, hey, look, domestically, we got to get back to building our own ships just for our national security. We got one of the taxes on steel and all is because if steel only comes from Canada and Japan, the United States might be in trouble if we get in some kind of war or something.
Yeah.
Ships, steel, all those kind of things, and the ports were all kind of going hand in hand in this big, beautiful bill.
Right.
So how will that affect us at all? Well,
with a 15-foot deep channel and the size of the boats that they need, it puts us at a disadvantage. But we still have our smaller boats too that we have to repair, and it still some of them need to be built. So until we get the channel deepened, we won't be participating in a lot of that rush all of a sudden to build new vessels, because how fast Trump operates.
Sure.
He's gonna want stuff hit the ground tomorrow, and there's no way we can do it. So we just had a disadvantage again. We have been for 27 years, trying to get this thing done. And one day it'll be done, and at that point, I think I think we're going to survive. We would have a lot more jobs if we had the channel deepened.
So we're missing out right now.
On those bigger vessels.
I think we saw that with the USS Kidd that came in to Thomas's
That's
place.
correct.
And it was kind of almost dragging the bottom when it was coming up, because those type of seagoing vessels really have a deep V,
right?
Really have a deep draft,
right? And you remember that fishing vessel that Thomas built?
Right.
It drew 19 feet of water. They put it on floats in the front and a dry dock in the back, and they were able to get it out. But boy, they churned up mud the whole way. I mean, it was You know, it was a.
And nobody really wants, you know, if they can just do it in a Corpus Christi or a,
Right.
you know, Pascagoula,
Right.
we'll probably lose out on those kind of.
Yeah. So when you drag it out, you know, and you get into deeper water, then you got to go bring it in and pick it up again on a dry dock and see if you damage the bottom, if you pull paint off of it or whatever, anodes and all that good stuff. So. It's just one of them things, you know, that we've been dealing with for a long time, and we're going to continue to deal with it. We don't have any choice.
Well, like I say, you've been talking about the urgency about this for a long time. I think this also makes it real, right? It's
Yeah.
like everybody goes, oh, what ships, you know, nobody really kind of puts their brain to exactly what's happening. But when you can see a ship that needs to almost be floated out,
Right.
it really makes the connection of what we're dealing with here.
Yep. I mean, I talked to people that have been working in the industry since 1980, and they said, when I started, every boat came through the channel with a drag bottom. And he said, today I'm still dragging bottom. So it's just one of them things you gotta deal with, you know.
Yeah. So that's always one of those things. Anything else on the big beautiful bill that y'all anticipate?
No, but I'm anticipating my taxes not going up. Okay. So hopefully the House can see, now that the Senate passed it, it's got to go to the House, and it's changed a lot because they got a lot of amendments. So the House has got to chew on it again, and hopefully they pass it. You know?
Well, you're a younger man, but maybe just, you know, down the road, Social Security, no tax on Social Security.
That's true.
We'll get a bump on that.
That's true. Yeah, I might be bartending before it's all over, and no tax on tips too. You know, so
that's right.
You know,
we may be all waiting tables here.
Yeah, you know.
All right. Well, we'll take a break. More with David Rabelais right here on Going Public. Stay with us.
Sea Level Construction is a heavy civil contractor that provides turnkey services for the industrial and marine industries. From building large-scale infrastructure to installing the foundation for expansion projects, Sea Level and its family of companies offer a wide range of capabilities, including driven piles, drilled deep foundations, structural fabrication, structural concrete, marine construction, barge maintenance and repair, site work development, heavy equipment repair services, and electrical services. Call Sea Level Construction to set the foundations for your next big project.
Located at 5004 Imperial Drive in Houma, April and Iris is a must-see for those looking for exquisite home decor and gifts. Owned by April Boudreau, along with her talented design team, there is no lack of detail to enhance your shopping experience. April and Iris has all your decor needs.
Come in today and let us help you complete your design vision. It's what we do.
April and Iris, Homa's newest home interior and gift store, where decor and inspiration meet and fulfill all your design needs.
Terrebonne Parish School District is now hiring bus drivers. A valid CDL is required. If you don't have a CDL, we have paid training available. You must be able to pass a medical health exam and a drug test. Our salary range is very competitive with similar jobs starting at $26 per hour. Benefits include free health insurance and retirement. Contact the TPSD Transportation Office at 876-7400 or apply online at www.tpsd.org.
A new company with a lot of history, GIS Engineering has rapidly grown its brand around an experienced team of professionals. GIS Engineering is a full-service planning, engineering, procurement, and construction management company specializing in coastal protection and restoration, upstream and downstream industrial, and transportation infrastructure projects. Putting people first, GIS Engineering, a new company with a lot of history.
Everybody, welcome back to Going Public. Harry McCullough here, spending our final segment with David Rabelais, the Terrebonne Port Commission Executive Director. We talked a little bit about Washington and the big, beautiful bill, but what about the state? What's happening in the state these days?
Well, the legislative session ended, and a capital outlay bill was passed. That's one of the bills where we get our local, state money for a lot of stuff, and it's we received everything we requested. The governor signed it, so now we got to wait for the bond commission, and it's got to go in front of the bond commission. The bond commission's got to approve it. Once that happens, then we good, you know. But some of them are continuing projects, like the Houma Navigation Canal. we get just enough to keep the engineers looking for the pipelines and all of that stuff. And now that the pipelines need to be lowered, the state's going to kick in a little bit more money in case we have to pay for any of them, and get all of that done, and then it's ready to dredge, you know, provided the lock and floodgate is installed, you know.
So, and again, it does seem like this administration does understand the importance of ports and those kind of things.
Yeah, Higgins' office has really been helping us lately. He's taking the bull by the horns.
Well, he has this area.
Yeah, I know. But I mean, he's got one of his guys is watching those questions, okay? And the minute it hits the ASA's office, a letter's gonna land on the ASA's desk from Higgins, which needs to happen.
Yeah.
Okay, that way it's all fresh in his mind. Okay now. So, and he's going to ask him to expedite it as fast as they can. So
that's great. That's great to hear about our reps doing a job like that. And doing a good job.
Yeah, we got a good delegation.
Right.
Really
no,
good.
and we have been. We've been blessed with that.
Exactly.
It seems like with guys in seniority positions as well. So, what about some of the other projects besides what we've been deep in an agency?
Well, we just got approval from DOTD's Port Priority Program to purchase a facility and lease it back to a new tenant. PCM is Mike's selling it, and we're going to buy the property, and we're going to lease the property back to the tenant, the new owner. So we excited about that. We also applied for another for Port Priority Program for another project to expand one of our tenants' facilities, and kind of keeping it under wraps right now as far as who is going. But they're going to take you can get the Port Priority Program is a program set up in DOTD, and it's strict. It's specifically for ports, and you can get as much up to $15 million for a project. Okay, build it and lease it to a tenant. And you don't have to pay the state back because the state looks at it as an investment to increase jobs, okay, because they make money on jobs. So it's a good program for ports, it's a good program for the tenants, and it's a good program for the state. It works very, very well. So we're in the process of going through another one. The next submittal for applications is September 1st. I don't know if we're going to make that. We should find out sometime in the next 2 or 3 weeks if the tenant is serious and he wants to go forward. So, we'll see. So hopefully by my next month, 2 months, we should have some information.
I got you. You have an existing facility with the ice. Ice is there, right?
Yeah, so ice.
That's not an ice plant.
No.
It's immigration.
No. One time, one of the engineers called me and said, "Hey, that ice water meter." And I said, "Well, wait a minute. How cold do we have to keep the water going through that ice water meter?" No. Ice. I knew what he was talking about. Yeah. So we're it's in our existing building. There was a section that we didn't build out for all the other projects, and ICE wanted it, so it's like 1,000 square foot section, and we're gonna.
What kind of presence they have there?
ICE probably got about 15, 20 people.
Oh, is that right?
Customs has about 25 people.
Now, that's just their facility, or do they do things on the water?
ICE doesn't really do stuff on the water.
Well, that's what I was curious.
Customs does.
Yeah,
okay, so we have a boat launch for Customs, but ICE. They, with all of the stuff going on right now, I'm sure they're busy. I don't get into. I mean, they don't tell me nothing,
right.
but they have extra people that have been coming in, and there's a lot of activity.
Okay. See, parish-wide security.
Yeah, so we got a grant from the state to do security in the port, and because our jurisdiction is the entire parish of Terrebonne, and the sheriff's water patrol is actually our harbor police, so we use them as. We're going to take that money and we're going to put a lot of cameras on Industrial Boulevard in that area by our property. We're also going to put some license plate readers on Van Avenue, and so that anybody coming through, they have them on the bridges. We're just going to have a backup. So if that's, and what happens is when it reads the license plate, it goes directly to 911, and 911 alerts the sheriff's department, hey, that car you're looking for just went over the bridge, or whatever.
Right.
So that's how that works. And then we're also gonna do a robot for if somebody's in a building holding hostages or whatever, hold up in a building, instead of a police officer going in there, we have a robot that's going to go in there, and so we're going to donate that to the sheriff's department and the Houma Police Department. We're also going to get some drones for the sheriff's department. So drones for a parade might be the ticket, you know.
Oh, sure.
You know.
With drones, when you're looking for people, they can use that heat sensor.
Exactly.
That they can tell where guys are. It really helps out our first responders that are chasing fugitives like that to find them, and so they don't go into harm's way as using a robot to go in and see them. So, all right, well, very interesting stuff. Got a lot going on. Dave Rabelais, thanks for the update, man.
Thank y'all for having me.
All right, it's the Terrebonne Port Commission.
Happy 4th of July.
Happy 4th of July to you as well. That's Going Public. I'm Harry McCullough. Thanks for watching. See you next time, everybody.